Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. We will wait a few more minutes for more people to join in because I can see there are people trying to join in. And then, inshallah, we will start. Thanks so much.
I want the popsicle ice cream. And the two reindeer.
Once again, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. We have here Taj Shakir with us to share Prophet stories. Thank you so much, Taj, for joining in, and then inshallah we will start.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I wanted to first start by talking about myself. And before I actually do that, I really hope you guys are all staying in, which is why we're doing this. So please try not to go out if you don't have to. Stay home as much as you can. You can go out for walks. It's starting to get a little better, but try to keep your distance, but try as much to stay at home. And Alhamdulillah, MIA has come up with this really good initiative to use virtual mosque to keep everybody engaged during this time because we need it. And I love that we've actually started this initiative to get the kids involved as well. So the kids can sit for half an hour, 2 times a week, and just enjoy these stories of the prophets and learn as well. Because each prophet, I believe, obviously had something important, a lesson that we can learn from. And at the same time, there were du'as that the prophets, had said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help when they were, when they prayed to him. And I think we can benefit from that as well. So I really hope everybody can benefit from this today and for the next little few weeks. Let's just pray that inshallah this is over soon so we can all go out and really see the world. So a little bit about myself. My name is Taj. I was a program director for Al Noor Weekend School, which is a part of MIA for about 4 or 5 years. I would say 5 years almost. Alhamdulillah, I got to work with a lot of beautiful people there, students, teachers alike, parents who are just amazing. And at the same time, I'm a certified teacher as well. So I enjoy language. So for me, this was the perfect thing to tell, storytelling, maybe trying to get the kids involved, inshallah, soon when we are doing these stories. Today, we're going to actually talk about one of the prophets, and I think the dua is perfect for the situation right now. We're going to talk about Prophet Yunus. Now, Prophet Yunus alayhi salam, we all know, right? I hope many of the children are familiar with has to do with a whale, right? So the kids make that connection that, it's a prophet and he gets swallowed up by a whale. Like, how is that possible? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? He can make anything happen. So today I'm gonna do it a little different. Every time it'll be a little different. I'm not gonna keep it the same thing. It depends on the books I have that I'm reading from. But today I found it fun to kind of give you guys two perspectives. So I'm gonna read two books to you. One is from the perspective of, it's a narration, right? It's your typical story. It's the tale of a fish, but this is actually, it's an outside view of what was actually happening. But then this is another book. It's called A Whale of a Wish. And this is from the perspective of the whale. So it's a little different, right? So it's a little different take on the story. I'm going to read this one afterwards. This one I'll read first because it kind of gives you the most knowledge you need for the events that were surrounding Prophet Yunus alayhi salam. All right. Okay. Now, so this one is actually called, well, like I said, Tale of a Fish, Quran Stories for Little Hearts. Okay. It is written by Sania Snain Khan, and it's part of the Good Work Kids books that they make. They have some amazing work out there. You can check it out for sure on your own time. So I'm going to start reading the book to you guys. So let's try to do this where I can actually, like there. A very old and powerful community used to live around 800 BC. So that's a really long time ago. In Nineveh, an ancient town believed to have been on the left bank of the Tigris River, some 230 miles north of west of Baghdad. Okay, so Baghdad is in Iraq, right? Allah sent the prophet Yunus, or in English it's Jonah, alayhi salam, to this community to guide them onto the right path. Now, I'm going to make this more interactive in the next coming weeks, but I'll actually start asking you guys questions. But today I'm just going to kind of walk you through how I would do it. So we all know, right? The prophets were sent for a reason. It was always to bring everybody to the right path. So they were never sent for fun. There was never just, okay, this is how it's going. Let's just keep it this way. It was always when people needed them. So in this case, the people of Nineveh were sent Prophet Yunus alayhi salam to guide them to the right path because they were obviously on the wrong path. Now, the wrong path in this case would be they could have been worshiping idols. They could have been doing things that they should not have been. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then sent Prophet Yunus to help them. Okay. Yunus alayhi salam did as Allah said and went to these people. He gave them his message and warned them to turn away from their wickedness. Yunus alayhi salam preached to them for a long time, but they paid no heed to his words. When he realized that they intended to continue on the wrong path, he warned them about how bad their actions were and that in the end they might be made to suffer. Angry and despairing, Yunus alayhi salam left these people. Now this part here is very important. Most prophets leave when Allah commands them to leave. But here, Prophet Yunus alayhi salam got angry himself and said, I am done here. I don't want to do this anymore because they're clearly not listening to me. I'm just going to go. Okay, and this is really important in the story here because this is connected to our dua. Okay, because he did something that Allah did not command him to do yet. He wasn't supposed to leave yet. Okay, but he did. Now, Yunus alayhi salam moved out of the city and headed towards the seaport where there were ships tied up waiting to sail. One Yunus alayhi salam found was due to sail to a far off land. He boarded the ship. Okay, so there's only one that was going somewhere. As soon as it was out at sea, the sky grew dark and there was a terrible storm. The fierce wind began to whip the water into huge waves which crashed against the hull of the ship. As the storm grew worse, the waves became like towering walls of water which came crashing down on the ship's deck. The sailors worked with all their strength to try to keep the ship on course. So they're all trying to work together here, right? It's not like they're just kind of, we'll do our own thing. They're still trying to work together because they're trying to stay alive. They even threw some of the cargo overboard to make the ship easier to control. But the ship's strong timber seemed as thin as matchwood in the teeth of the storm. Soon they knew it would break up and they would all drown. Thinking their ill luck was due to some slave having run away from his master, they drew lots to find the runaway and hurl them overboard. The name of Yunus alayhi salam was picked out in the draw, so he forced to jump from the ship. So when they're drawing lots, what they're in a way would think of it having like, where you're kind of picking sticks. So the shortest stick gets to be thrown overboard. So for them, it was whoever has it goes. So in this case, unfortunately, not unfortunately, in a way, fortunately, because he wouldn't have learned if this didn't happen to him, was Prophet Yunus alayhi salam. Okay. As he struggled in the water, gasping for breath, a great whale appeared out of the depths of the sea and swallowed him up. The fish that swallowed Yunus alayhi salam may have been a sperm whale, so we know it was a whale. But if you really think about it, the kind of whale that would actually be able to swallow a human being whole would have to be a sperm whale because they're one of the biggest ones. Such whales are known to visit the eastern Mediterranean Sea. With their large throats, they can swallow the body of a man whole. Now imagine, I want you guys to imagine this, right? Imagine you get swallowed by a whale. What would you feel like? Where would you end up? Right? Where would you end up if a whale swallowed you? And how would that feel? Would it be light inside? Would it be dark inside? Would you feel scared? Would you be happy? How would you feel? Think about that. Because Prophet Yunus alayhi salam was alone in there. And I will read on, but you'll see what could have happened if he did not listen to Allah. And I want you to think about that. Being in the darkness we don't know how long he was really in there, right? Because he just prayed in there, but we don't know how long he really was in there. So imagine that, even in a dark room, imagine being in a dark room for half an hour. What would that feel like? What would you feel? I want you guys to think about that. Suddenly, Yunus alayhi salam found himself in the dark, damp insides of the huge fish. He had not drowned. He was still alive. Now, Yunus alayhi salam realized that he had left the people of Nineveh too early without completing the task assigned by Allah. As a rule, once it became clear that a nation had rejected Allah's message, the prophet who had been the bearer of that message was commanded by Allah to leave, but only if he had done his very best to reform his hearers. Then Allah punished the erring people as a mark of his wrath. But Yunus alayhi salam had not waited for Allah's order. He had simply gone away, leaving the people of Nineveh to their doom. So Allah still punished the people of Nineveh. But at the same time, Prophet Yunus alayhi salam left them as well. When Yunus alayhi salam realized his mistake, he cried from the depth of the darkness, "There is no God but you. Glory be to you. I have done wrong." And I'm going to actually share this with you guys right now. I'm sure, Uruj, can you see this? Okay, so this is what the dua he made. Okay, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min az-zalimin. Okay, no one has a right to be worshipped but you, O Allah. Glorified and exalted are you. Truly, I have been of the wrongdoers. Now, this is really important here. He is admitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he is of the wrongdoers. Allah was always right. He shouldn't have left the people, so he did something wrong. He should have waited for Allah's command. And he is a part of the people who are wrongdoing because of this. Okay, so he's still glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not blaming Allah for anything. He's not saying, "Oh, it was your fault, I'm in the fish now." No, he's saying you are still, it's only you who has to be worshipped, and you are the glorified. So think about that, right? Even after, sometimes, when you feel angry and you blame your parents, sometimes you go, "It's your fault, this happened to me," right? You blame everybody else sometimes when you do something wrong except yourself. Here a prophet is saying, I did something wrong. I'm of the wrongdoer. So it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to accept that you are wrong as long as you're correcting yourself, right? Or making the dua to Allah to say, you know what, help me here. The Quran says, and this is very important, and this is why I want you guys to think about being in that darkness for even a half an hour. Because the Quran says that if he had not said he was sorry and glorified Allah in his prayers, he would have stayed in the belly of the fish till the day of judgment. Think about that. We don't know when the world's going to end, right? So he would have been in the belly for that long in the darkness if he had not repented to Allah. Okay? The fish, by the command of Allah, swam close to the land and brought Yunus alayhi salam safely onto the beach, where he found himself under a tree called Yaqtin. It was a gourd tree. It shaded him from the heat of the sun while he recovered from his ordeal. It also gave him a delicious fruit full of juice to quench his thirst. Okay, so Allah still took care of his prophet. By Allah's command, that tree grew there, okay, for him. Yunus alayhi salam then returned to his people and preached to them again. All of them, over 100,000, responded to his call. The lesson in the story of Prophet Yunus alayhi salam is twofold. Firstly, the great duty to deliver the message of Allah to others now falls on every Muslim. If we ignore this duty and become desperate, as Yunus alayhi salam was at first, we will be found guilty of not carrying out the task set for us by Allah. And secondly, the courage which was shown by Yunus alayhi salam as he nearly drowned is a great example and shows us that we should never despair of the mercy of Allah. If we are on the right path and say we are sorry for our failings, Allah will help us miraculously, as he did when Yunus alayhi salam was saved from the raging sea by the giant fish. Okay, so this was one of the books that we just read. So I'm gonna actually I'm still sharing the screen with you guys, and I do want to quickly mention what Prophet Muhammad SAW had said, that no Muslim ever prays to his Lord with these words for anything, but he will answer his prayer. So if you make this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will answer your prayer, as long as obviously it's a legitimate prayer, right? So once again, the dua is La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. Okay. And I actually want you guys, it's a very short dua and it's very simple. Even the young ones can easily memorize this dua. So I really want you all to kind of try to have this memorized if you haven't done so yet. And you can recite it daily in your prayer, especially right now, because it is a dua for times of distress. And we kind of are in a distress situation right now with the virus and everything. So the more people who will make this dua, the higher likely chance there is, right, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to listen to our prayers, our du'as. Now, the next one is a different perspective. This is the perspective of the whale, and this level is kind of more so for the younger readers, because it just kind of gives you it's a more friendly, it doesn't have a lot of details in terms of the people of Nineveh and things like that. So it kind of just helps students, little ones, understand the relationship between Prophet Yunus alayhi salam and the whale. So this one's called The Whale of a Wish, and it's written by Razana Noor. Okay. There was once a young whale, as kind as can be, living with his family deep in the sea. He was a goodly fellow who had one wish, of doing something unique like no other fish. He wanted to make Allah proud, you see, and prove how good a whale he could be.
Raj, sorry, can you make your screen bigger this time because you're showing the book, I guess?
Oh, is it not showing?
It is because we are actually seeing the dua. We're seeing your.
Oh, that's my fault. Okay, let me just stop sharing it then. Now it's okay? Can you see it?
Yeah, that's perfect. Now.
So once the whale grew big and strong, he bid his family farewell with a song. He swam across deep oceans and seas, looking for ways to help those in need. He gave a helping hand to many along the way, like saving a dolphin from a deadly stingray. He even made friends with his foe, the giant squid, who was quite nice when he got to know him a bit. Then one night, he wandered far out to sea, as he had a funny feeling that's where he needed to be. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning hit the sky, followed by thunder echoing up high. It was the scariest storm he had seen in years, and he tried his best to cover his ears. He was terrified of thunder and lightning, you see, and wanted to swim away immediately. Suddenly, he spotted a boat up above, being thrashed by the waves, battered and shoved. Then the poor whale got awfully upset when he spotted a man being thrown off the deck. He watched in horror as the poor man fell. Oh, what would happen next? No one could tell. Just then he heard a voice in his mind. It was Allah Almighty, most merciful and kind. Save this man, sweet whale, don't fear, for he is Prophet Yunus, most special and dear. The whale trusted Allah and jumped to his call, gulping down Prophet Yunus, arm, legs, and all. Many days and nights the whale did roam, with Yunus in his belly, so far away from home. So night and day the Prophet Yunus prayed, "Oh Allah, forgive me for the mistake that I made." Then finally the whale heard Allah's last call to return the Prophet to land once and for all. So the goodly whale swam all night till he reached the shore in the early morning light. Then closing his eyes, he focused on his belly and threw up Prophet Yunus with some rather slimy jelly. Once the Prophet was returned to dry land, saved by Allah's most merciful, marvelous plan. The goodly whale felt thankful and blessed to have been a big part of this awesome quest. So to his family and friends, he was proud to share this amazing true story loved by Muslims everywhere. And at the end of this book, I like it as well because they actually have the dua there for the kids to read and memorize. All right, so these are the two books that I read for today for you guys. If you do have any questions, feel free to, I'm not sure if you guys can message it here, or I'm not sure how Uruj can help us out with this. Please do message me. And then inshallah, my goal for, let's see what happens on Thursday, is to read the story of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, because once again, that's another where he needed Allah's help, right? So anyways, I think this is it. Uruj, do you have anything to share here?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you so much, Taj, for doing that. Like, it's like a blessing to have kids around and they listen to the stories right now. It was really great. And I'll make sure that they learn. If anyone has any comment, feedback, or anything, you can unmute your mic and share it with us. And also, just so you know that this Prophet Story series will happen every Tuesday and Thursday at the same time. You can use the same link. And right after that, not right after, at around 12:30, your kids can log into www.miaonline.org, and then you can click on the Muslim Kids TV link to watch it for 30 minutes for free. So that's another thing that you can do on Tuesdays and Thursday. And thank you so much, Taj. I really, really like the way that you explain it with two different books, and they both got a different perspective. Thanks again.
And if you guys have any feedback, do let Aruj know of what more do you want to see. Like I said, I'm still kind of figuring it out here. So I figured it would be a nice thing for us to do a relationship between du'as that we recite and prophets, because I think they do go hand in hand in a lot of cases. But if there is anything else that you guys would like me to touch on, please do let Rouge know, or the office know, and then I can modify my the half-hour sessions accordingly. All right. Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you, everybody, for joining in.